And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our third segment, which is going to be talking about the Orioles and some trade rumors involving them recently. So yeah, let's get into it. So Ken Rosenthal came out today with one of his MLB notebook pieces, which he does around maybe every 2 weeks or so. A lot of informative information in there, like always. I suggest you guys read it if you are baseball fans. And he talked a lot about the Orioles today and what they're looking at the deadline. So with the Orioles, of course, they are going to be competitors and they are going to be adding at the deadline. I mean, that is incredibly obvious for anyone who knows any little thing about baseball. They are probably the second best team in baseball right now and clearly are going to add. And he offered a lot of valuable information about the team and what their plans are at the deadline, and I did want to talk about it. So first off, he talked about how they are looking to get a right-handed outfielder and are also looking to upgrade their bullpen. And I think that both of these are very, very fair things to talk about and are pretty good fits for this team, for this Orioles team. I think that overall the Orioles are an amazing team and have a lot of talent, but I think that at the same time there are some things that need to be worked on. So starting off with the outfield, I mean, this lineup is absolutely just impeccable. You have Adley Rutschman, Ryan O'Hearn, Ryan Mountcastle. You have, of course, Gunnar Henderson. Jackson Holiday's going to come up eventually. Colton Cowser's been great. And kind of the one little question mark, the one little void on your team is Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins was a guy who came out of nowhere a few years ago, finished top 10 in MVP, and was a really, really fantastic player for the Orioles and looked to be one of the early building blocks for this bad Orioles team. Was a fan favorite immediately, was great, and was looking to be a franchise star, but really has cooled off these past few seasons and has not done as well. And whether that's for him just regressing back to the mean as we expected, pitchers figuring him out, whatever else, we don't know, but he has been pretty bad and is looking to be one of the only voids on a very powerful and great Orioles team. And I think looking at it, center field is one of the biggest faults that this Orioles team does have, and that's also why I think that a right-handed outfielder is what they are looking for. And honestly, if I had to say, I think Luis Robert is a perfect fit for this Orioles team. Robert is a young superstar player with a lot of control left on his deal. The White Sox are right now apparently looking to trade him. I don't really agree with that, but I get it. At least they're bad, and he's a great player. They'll get a lot back for him, and I think the Orioles make a lot of sense for him. He's a right-handed outfielder. He's young. He's great. He's under control for cheap for the next few years, and he also would add a terrifying balance to this lineup. I mean, you would then have Rutschman, Henderson, Holiday when he comes up. You're going to have Cowser, Robert. That's an insane core to have. And I think he would be an absolutely amazing fit. And I also think the Orioles are one of the few teams to be able to genuinely have a farm system that can be able to put together a package for this superstar Robert. You're, of course, not going to be trading Jackson Holiday for him, but looking at a guy like Samuel Basala, who is a younger catcher, a top 10 prospect in baseball, according to a lot of publications, at least top 20 for most of the time, is blocked by Adley Rutschman, I think will make a lot of sense to be traded for Luis Robert. And if not him, you want to say maybe Colby Mayo. You want to say maybe a Heston Kjerstad as guys who are going to potentially be big pieces of a trade. Enrique Bradfield Jr., Connor Norby, Dylan Beavers, Cade Povich, Judd Fabian. The list of Orioles prospects that are really good just goes on and on and on, and I think that's the big reason why the Orioles are such a fantastic fit for Luis Robert and makes so much sense here. He's a young star player that not any team can trade for, and the Orioles make a lot of sense for him, again, just with baseball-wise. So if I'm the Orioles, I'm looking at this. I think that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get a player like this, and it makes a lot of sense for both sides. The White Sox get the prospects they want. The Orioles get a superstar center fielder to add to their already amazing list of core. And also, you may look at this and say, okay, well, Sam, why, if they have so many great young hitters already, why would they want to just trade for another? I think one of the things honestly missing with this Orioles team is a true center fielder. You have a lot of good outfield prospects, a lot of good hitting prospects, but really other than Enrique Bradfield Jr., who probably won't be up for 3 to 4 years, you don't really have a true center fielder in this system. Heston Kjerstad, corner outfielder. Connor Norby, corner outfielder. Kobe Mayo, infielder. Basalo, catcher, first baseman. You don't really have a true center fielder in this organization as a prospect right now, and I think adding a superstar like Robert would really help you solidify that and just make this team all the more scary. This is the time to do it. If you're going to win, it's going to be this year. This might be your only year with superstar Corbin Burnes, and I think that overall, this is the year to do it. This is the year to go all in, and this is the year to try to win it all. I think that other than really the Yankees, you don't have much competition in the American League, and I would go all in if I'm them. And even if you don't win this year, and it fails, you still have Robert for 2 to 3 more years. So I think this is a fantastic fit, and I also think the White Sox have some other things the Orioles are looking for. They said they're looking for a right-handed bullpen arm. Well, the Orioles have Garrett Crochet, don't they? Michael Kopech, who's a great right-handed bullpen arm that possesses a lot of good stuff and can help this bullpen out. That's another great fit for there. So I think the White Sox and Orioles are 2 very good fits, and I think the Orioles need to start looking at an upgrade for center field and do need to look at some bullpen options as well. Now, if you don't want to go all in with this big-time option of Luis Robert, which I would disagree with, but I think the Mets offer a fascinating trade as well. You could trade for one of their veteran relievers like an Adam Ottavino, a Reed Garrett, a Sean Reed Foley, a Drew Smith, and also get expiring center fielder Harrison Bader to add to the team, who is a very solid player. Of course, isn't the caliber of a Robert, but would allow Cedric Mullins to only verse righties. Would also allow Bader to only play lefties, and which is his strong suit. Would add amazing late game defense to your outfield. Bader being one of the best, would add a late game pinch runner as well, and just adds a lot of good things for this Orioles team, and I think would be a nice fit there. So I could also see that happening. I think Bader and a reliever from the Mets is also a possibility if you want to do that. You could look in division and trade for Kenley Jansen of the Red Sox and add him to your veteran closer room with Craig Kimbrell That would also be a possibility. Not sure the Red Sox will want to do that though. So I think there are a good amount of options here for this Orioles team, and I think that honestly, center field and a right-handed reliever, just any reliever, honestly, doesn't matter what arm side they are. I'm sure they prefer right-handed, but still, I think a right-handed reliever or reliever of any kind and a center fielder are the 2 things the Orioles need to be looking at, because this team is absolutely fantastic. There's no doubt about that, but there are still holes on this team like any other team has. So I think that this is what you have to look for the Orioles. They're going to be an extremely fascinating team to look at for the trade deadline and the rest of the year with how much young talent they have, and I'm so excited to see what happens. With Robert as well, John Heyman mentioned today on his live stream that there are 6 teams, at least 6 teams, that are Luis Robert genuine suitors. The Dodgers, Phillies, Braves, Royals, Mariners, and Blue Jays. You also, I would say, add in the Orioles to that list. That's 7 teams that genuinely could make a move for Robert. So Robert's going to be another fascinating player to watch this deadline as well. I'm very excited to see what happens with that. I think he would add so much to this deadline if he does end up getting traded. So, yeah, overall, very excited to watch this Orioles trade deadline. Very excited to see the trade deadline as well. So excited to talk to you guys about it on July 31st. That's going to be my favorite show by far. I love the trade deadline, and it's going to be very, very exciting. And, yeah, so excited to see that. And I love talking about the trade deadline, and hopefully we get to talk about it more as we go up to the deadline in a little more than a month here. So, yeah. That is our 3rd segment here, talking about the Orioles and some trade rumors involving them. We'll be moving into our 4th segment, which is going to be talking about Kevin Biggio and his trade to the Los Angeles Dodgers and what it means for both teams. So yeah, we'll be talking about that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
For the best